This is the other computer that I got, that I talked about in the other video. This is a NEC 98 Note. Specific model. This is a big chunker compared to the last one. It is a 9821na12 for Windows 95. So, pretty much your standard Windows 95 laptop. You got a slider here for the brightness. This is a lot more normal looking keyboard than the last one. But this is just like the last one. Comes with all kinds of stuff. So this one has a 3.5-inch floppy. And here is, I believe, our PCMCIA slots. Yep, so we got 2 PCMCIA slots. On this side, we got a disk drive. I'm not sure how that one opens yet. I'm gonna mess with that here in a second. Then we have our I/O ports. These are more, I don't know exactly what kind of plug those are, but that's serial and that's a parallel or printer port. We have a mouse and then a number pad port up there. And then we have analog RGS. I have no idea what that means. Backup, again, have no idea. Line in, line out, and phone. So I assume like headset phone. Then we have the docking port. Pretty sure that's an IR infrared sensor like your TV remote. And a charge port. I just played with that. That is quite fascinating. That is a hot swappable hard drive. So it's an NEC 1 gigabyte. Has a bunch of Japanese writing on it. It's in a caddy. And then it has this board on it. I'm thinking maybe that might be an IDE drive if we take the caddy off of it. I'm very tempted to take the caddy off of it because see that lower pin out? That to me looks like it might be a 44 pin IDE. So, yeah, or I suppose this could be a SCSI drive. I'm not very familiar with SCSI pinouts. What's that say? G80. Huh. We might mess with that in a second. Everything on this thing is hot swappable, which is super cool. So you hold this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it off one-handed here. You hold that. And push that over. Out comes your floppy drive. And same for your disk drive. And if that wasn't enough, then you can put your external battery in. Boom. Isn't that cool? And then you can take this one out too. I think the battery goes in the other way too. I know that slot looks bigger, but I'm pretty sure it tucks in there. I thought I saw power ports in there designed the same way. And then this has a similar looking funky angled plug on it. And nothing in English at all. That's kind of the way everything with this is. Here's our power supply. Thank goodness it has a pinout on it because we're going to have to check that. It does look like it runs on 120. That was a question I had. 50 or 60 hertz. Okay, so probably first step for diagnosis is going to be checking this power supply because the previous owner said they plugged it in and had it charging for about 24 hours. And it did nothing. So that's pretty much what I've come up with, except sometimes, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to catch it. Nope, it's not gonna do it. But sometimes when you got the external battery in it, it will pop up on this display with a little battery logo when you push the power button, and the battery light will flash red. So I think that's a good sign. This thing is super clean. I really see no real signs of corrosion. I did take a couple things off. If you take some of the bottom paneling off, there's some screws that hold these down. You can take these two pieces here off, and I couldn't see anything definitive. There's I think the CMOS battery is right there. I had it out, but I can't get to the big battery. So my assumption is either A, the big battery shorted out, or B, that is no longer making power like it's supposed to be. Or, of course, you know, something else could be shorted out. But I can really find no information on these in English on the internet. Everything's in Japanese. So I don't know a whole lot yet. What I do know is, if you can read Japanese, I have plenty of documentation. So, but I don't read Japanese, unfortunately. There's some pictures. It's crazy how it says part 6 in English, and then it'll say like LED Japanese. Like here, this is clearly talking about MS-DOS and Windows 3.1. There's a picture of what the dock would look like. Apparently there's a monitor that hooks up to it. It's a CRT. It just seems so weird. You're zooming along in Japanese and then all of a sudden CRT in English. Apparently there's a number pad, which we had deduced by looking at that. That must be the external battery. And there's our hot swap hard drive bay. Or actually that might be the PC98 stuff. There's our external battery again. Floppy drives. So here in the States, what we would have is the printer port there. Apparently also doubles as a keyboard or joystick port. And then the docking ports. There's a lot here. This is a very fully featured laptop. This thing is like super deluxe extra compared to a lot of stuff. I just googled that Trans X 2.0 or Trans Z 2.0, and that's apparently a way to communicate to computers over infrared. Maybe that's what that infrared sensor was. Apparently it's NEC branded, but copyright. We have Puma Technology, 1995. We have Microsoft DOS, Windows, Puma Technology. We got all kinds of copyrights, so I don't know what that's about. I think these blue ones were about Windows. I don't know, it's got model information. Apparently you can get it with OS2 and NetWare. It's kind of interesting, being it's not an IBM product. I guess they did make OS2 for other things. Now let's talk about MS-DOS 3.3. This book was definitely Windows 95. Looks like I made a very interesting shell. looks like Windows 95 I'm used to, but maybe it does. I've never actually owned anything with 95. I've only ever used 98. And this appears to be the book on the modem that came with it. Makes sense now. Again, didn't come with the dongle. Imagine that. And then the big, really awesome, amazing part of this is we have a boot disk for Japanese Windows 95. Assume that's what that is. So I don't know what that one is exactly. I don't know if it says Microsoft. I thought maybe it was a driver disk, but that one's clearly Windows 95 boot disk. And I think that is our I don't know, maybe that's our driver disk. CD-ROM, OS. I don't know, maybe that is Windows 95. I think NEC licensed Windows 95 from them. I think I read that someplace. There's some quick research online. It looks like we have a NA12H10, which means we have a 120 hertz Pentium with a 1 gigabyte hard drive. Which makes sense because we have a 1 gigabyte hard drive. That's pretty much it. I think I am going to try to take a look at this drive outside of its caddy. If I do that, I'll film that. But, you know, this thing looks like maybe it has either 8 or 16 megabytes of RAM, 120 hertz Pentium. I mean, it's going to run DOS. It's going to run Windows 3, Windows 98.5. I guess maybe you could run Windows 98 on it. Should be an interesting little project. I'm not going to go too deep into it. If it's power supply related, then we might try to do something with it. Figure out if there's a different way to inject voltage into it just to do some testing. But ultimately, I imagine this will probably end up going on to somebody else who has the time and effort to recap it and take care of the vinegar syndrome that's forming on the screen. It's not too bad yet, but it's just these are probably a little beyond me, especially the IBM one. I think the IBM one's definitely leaving, and this one is probably gonna get a little diagnostic work because I don't think it's nearly as bad. And then if magically it works, then I will let you know. Thanks for watching.